Alright, so lesson 6, we're going to look at some factoring where a is not going to be 1. Our term in front of x squared is not going to be 1. And I'm going to show you how it's going to change a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more work sometimes, but it's really just one little extra step. Okay, so when the first term is not 1, okay, there's a couple of little extra steps that we're going to go through. So if we look at this first one, you start by multiplying a times c. Okay, so I'm going to take a times c again, and that's going to equal 6 times 5, which is 30. So our a times c is 30. And just like we did in the last lesson, I want to find factors of 30 that add to give me b, which is 13. Okay? Now our factors of 30 that give us 13 would be 3 and 10. So I'm going to split the 13x into 3x and 10x. Okay? And now that I split the 3x and 10x, I rewrite everything. I rewrite the whole thing. 6x squared plus 3x plus 10x plus 5. Okay? After that, I factor by grouping. Okay? And I'm going a little bit quickly through this, but I'm going to do a couple more with you. But what I'm going to look for here is in the first two terms, that's my first group. And the last two terms, that's my second group. In the first group, find the GCF of just those two terms. So GCF of 6 and 3 would be 3, and then GCF of x squared and x would be x. So I'm going to take out the 3x. Okay, so here's our GCF here. Okay, and after I divide out that 3x, and then what is left? Well, 6x squared divided by 3x is 2x, and 3x divided by 3x is just 1. So now left in parentheses, I have 2x plus 1. That's factoring out. And then I look for the GCF of the second group. Okay, GCF of 10x and 5 would just be 5. So I factor out that GCF. Okay, and then I have 2x plus 1. After you factor out GCF, you should always end up with these two being exactly the same. They have to be the same. If not, there's something wrong and we have to go back and look. Okay, so to get your answer, your two binomials then, and after factoring out our GCF, the outside 3x plus 5 counts as your first binomial, and then whatever the common inside is your second binomial. So then this is our answer. Okay, we're going to look at some more on the next page over here as well, so I can walk through each step with you. Okay, so again, I'm going to multiply a times c. So 10 times negative 14, negative 140. Okay, and then we have to find factors of negative 140 that add to give us 31. Because we're going to break that 31x up then. So I'm going to rewrite over here so that we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so now we need to think of factors. Okay, we could think 1 and 140. That ain't going to work. And we're going to have a positive and a negative, remember, because a times c is negative. So we need a positive and a negative. And it has to be a larger positive. Okay, 2 and 70, that doesn't work. 3 doesn't go into 140. 4, we get 4 and 35. And there would be our two numbers, 4 and 35. Okay, I'm going to use positive 35. Okay, so I break 31x into 35x and negative 4x. Okay, 35 and negative 4 have the same value as 31, but now it's going to be a little bit easier for me to factor. Okay? So now I find the GCF of my first two terms. Okay, GCF, I can take out a 5, and I can take out an x. So 10x squared divided by 5x is going to leave me with 2x plus 35 divided by 5 is 7. X divided by x cancels it out. Okay? And we have over here 4x and negative 14. I'm going to want to take out a negative 2. Okay? And then after I take out a negative 2, because negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2x, and negative 14 divided by negative 2 is giving me positive 7. Okay, so you have to be careful. The reason I took out negative 2 is because I needed all of the inside to be positive. Notice right now they're both negative, so I noticed, well, to change it back to positive, my GCF needs to be a negative number. Okay, so now I'm basically almost done here. My first answer my first binomial is going to be 5x minus 2. And the second binomial is the common inside, 2x plus 7. And that would be the factored form of this trinomial. Okay? Okay, so a rectangle, the area of a rectangle is 8x squared plus 22x plus 15. What are the possible dimensions? When you think about the area of a rectangle, it's the length times the width. So we have to find the length and the width. That's going to be two binomials. It's going to be a binomial for the length, a binomial for the width. Okay? So I have 8x squared plus 22x plus 15. Now really, I should say step 1 is not multiplying a times c first. Step 1 really is to check for a GCF right at the very beginning, the greatest common factor right at the beginning. Okay? Now, do I have a greatest common factor of 8, 22, and 15? I don't. So that's why in this problem they say step 1 is to multiply a times c. If there is no GCF, then you go right into multiplying a times c. That's 8 times 15, okay, which is going to give us 120. So now we're finding factors of 120 that gives us 22 when we add. So we can do 1 and 120. That's not going to work. We can do 2 and 60. That doesn't work. 3 and 40. That doesn't work. 4 and 30. That doesn't work. 5. Go in there. The 24 times. That doesn't work. 5 and 24. Okay, so 6 is going to work 20 times. 6 and 20 doesn't add to what we want. Okay, 12 and 10. Okay, 12 and 10, those would be the two that would, 12 times 10 gives us 120, and 12 plus 10 gives us 22. Okay, so those are our two factors. Now I break that 22x into the 12x and 10x, and I fill in the rest, the plus 15 and the 8x squared. Now I factor by grouping, so I have this group, and this group that I need to find factors, GCFs of. So GCF of 8 and 12, I think our GCF there would be 4. And then GCF of x squared and x is just x. So now I have to divide 8x squared by 4x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And x divided by x, they cancel each other out. Okay, GCF here, 5. And I can't take out a variable because this one does not have a variable. So 10 divided by 5 is now 2x, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Always check, did I end up with the same thing in both parentheses? Yes, I did, so that means I'm on the right track. And then remember, your answer at the end is the outside combined for one binomial, and then the common inside combines for the other binomial. Okay? And then this is our answer. Okay, the next one, 8x squared, minus 36x minus 20. Okay, now look at here, it says step 1, factor out GCF. That really is always our first step to see if we have a GCF that I can factor out right away. Okay, so since that becomes our first step in this one, I'm guessing we have something we can factor out. So a GCF of 8, 36, and 20. GCF of 8, 36, and 20, greatest common factor, is going to be 4. So what I do then is I just rewrite this, but I divide 4 out of the whole thing. So now it gives me 2x squared minus 18x minus 10. Oh, wait a second, sorry. 36 divided by 4 is 9, so minus 9x, and 20 divided by 4 is 5, so minus 5. And now from here, I multiply my a times c. And this 4, all this 4 is going to do is just tag along the whole way until you get to our answer. Okay? So now a times c is 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. I need to find factors of negative 10 that add to give me negative 9. Well, that one's pretty simple. Okay, that's going to break into negative 10 and positive 1. Okay, then I bring the other two parts down, and I have my 4-term polynomial. Now I find GCF of the first part, GCF of the second part. GCF of the first two is going to be 2x, because I can take an x out of both of them. So now I have just x left here, because 2x squared divided by 2x is x. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5, and x divided by x, they cancel out. Okay, then in my GCF here, the greatest common factor of these two is just going to be 1. That's all I can take out of both of them that is common. So I put the 1 there, and then what is left? Well, x minus 5. Now the reason I put this this extra set of parentheses here is because of the 4 on the outside. The 4 has to be multiplied technically by everything, but so that's why that parentheses is around that 2x at the beginning as well. Okay. So now my answer is going to be the outside parts and the common inside as my two binomials. So my first binomial, 2x plus 1, and my second one, x minus 5, and then we're done. Okay, so really, when this first one, when you have a GCF right at the beginning, that just tags along. It's just a part of your answer at the end. So now my answer includes that 4 out in front. So it's 4 times the quantity of 2x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 5. Okay, so when you have problems with that GCF at the very beginning, remember just to have it tag along. And then it's the same way. You still find A times C, find your GCF of each, and then put them into your binomials. Okay, so that's it. Have a good night, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow.